There's a creator by the name of Austin McConnell who I watch quite frequently. He did a video of sharing useless information based on one comment he got, and it kind of snowballed from there. But it's been a year since he last did one of these, and I need my yearly dose of useless information, so I decided to make one myself. An hour-long version of it. Let's get started. Alan Shepard is the only person to hit golf balls on the moon, which there are currently 2 of. Personally, I'm waiting for when the first soccer ball lands on the moon. Just saying. Pogonophobia is a fear of beards. Lady Liberty is 300 feet tall, has a 35-foot waistline, and wears a size 879 shoe. The rarest pasta in the world is soufalende, which means the threat of gods. A study done in Florida in 1968 found that termites exposed to rock music ate wood faster. Astronauts can grow up to 3% taller in space, so if you want to get taller, just go to space, I guess. In Switzerland, it's illegal to own just one guinea pig because they are highly sociable and need companionship. Cows tend to produce more milk when listening to music, in particular classic music such as the works of Mozart and Beethoven. An average cumulus cloud weighs more than 70 adult T-Rexes. I'm just going to do that over again. An average cumulus cloud weighs more than 70 adult T-Rexes. Acoustic Kitty was the CIA's experiment to make a cat spy. You can wake up from sleeping and sneeze, but you can't physically sneeze while sleeping. A shrimp's heart is in its head. Technically the thorax, but we divide shrimp by their head and tail, so we say head instead. The second book to ever be printed in the English language was about chess. Cotton candy has some of the most unique names in other languages. In France, cotton is known as daddy's beard. In Finland, and Australia, it's fairy's floss. In China, it's dragon's beard. And in the Netherlands, it's known as sugar spider. Also, a strand of cotton candy is thinner than a strand of human hair. A cracked egg underwater looks like a jellyfish. The White House has 35 bathrooms. Peanut butter can be turned into diamonds. The proper name for a baby rabbit is kitten. There are more trees on Earth than stars in the Milky Way. According to a study published by Nature, there are 3 trillion trees on Earth compared to the 100 to 400 billion stars estimated to be in the Milky Way. Oysters change their gender at least once in their life. Most start off as male but change to female before they reach 1. A chef's hat usually has 100 folds. This is to represent the amount of ways you can prepare an egg. Platypus are venomous. Not my Perry the Platypus. Scotland has 421 words for snow. The world record for stone skipping is currently 88 skips. Jingle Bells was originally written for Thanksgiving, not Christmas. For around 15 years, the only flavor available for Gatorade was lemon lime. The bones of a pigeon are lighter than its feathers. Mosquitoes prefer those with type O blood. It all makes sense now. Jack Dorsey set up the first ever Twitter profile and sent out the first tweet saying, "Just set up my Twitter." Phantom rain are raindrops that never reach the ground. Phantom rain sounds like a name for a superhero or supervillain. Oh no, it's Phantom rain. Coming your way. There's one easy way to tell crocodiles and alligators apart. Crocodiles can't stick their tongue out, but alligators can. The juice from bluebell flowers were historically used to make glue. The Oxford word of the year in 2015 was the crying emoji. Continents shift at the same rate your fingernails grow. The deepest part of the ocean is called the Challenger Deep, and only 3 people have ever made it down there. Only 2 states have never reached past 100 degrees Fahrenheit, Alaska and Hawaii. Arizona and Hawaii are the only states who don't observe daylight savings. Our eyes are always the same size from birth, but our nose and ears never stop growing. A penguin was once knighted in Norway, and it was approved by the King of Norway. The first sport to be filmed was boxing in 1894. Australia has almost 12,000 beaches. If you visited one per day, it would take you more than 32 years to see them all. A duck can't walk without bobbing its head. Sloths can hold their breath underwater for 40 minutes. And they can do this because they have the ability to slow down their heart rate to 1/3 of its normal pace. Your thigh bone or femur is stronger than concrete. When you take a single step, you're using 200 of your muscles. The largest desert on Earth is the Arctic Desert. A camel can drink 25 gallons of water in less than 3 minutes. Dice were originally made from the ankle bones of animals. The dots on the side of a dice are known as pips. Hawaii is the only state with one school district. In the 1830s, ketchup was sold as medicine, claiming to cure you of diarrhea, indigestion, and jaundice. The idea was proposed by Dr. John Cook Bennett, who would sell the recipe in the form of tomato pills. The only thing that can scratch a diamond is another diamond. 10 million bricks were used to build the Empire State Building. Gintu penguins proposed by finding the smoothest pebble to give to their partner. The tongue is the fastest healing part of a human body. The tip of a bullwhip is thought to be the first human-made object to break the sound barrier. An electric eel can release a charge powerful enough to start 50 cars. The first passengers on a hot air balloon were a sheep, duck, and rooster. You blink about 12,000 times a day. You probably just blinked right now. Pound cake got its name from the original recipe, which called for a pound of butter. Pound of butter, okay. In 2019, The Verge titled an article, "Yahoo redesigns its logo to remind you that Yahoo exists." Sea otters hold each other's paws while sleeping so they don't drift apart. Maine produces more toothpicks than any other state in the US. All scorpions glow under ultraviolet light. The word utopia, meaning an ideal place, comes from the Greek word meaning no place. Hawaiian pizza was created in Canada. Thank you, Canada. A human could swim through the blood vessels of a blue whale. At one point, it was illegal in Kansas to top a slice of cherry pie with a scoop of ice cream. The United States has an official rock, paper, scissors league. A group of porcupines is called a prickle, and a newborn koala is only the size of a jelly bean. There are more fake flamingos in the world than real ones. Michelle Otito ate computers, shopping carts, 15 bikes, and even an entire airplane. You produce enough saliva in your life to fill 2 Olympic-sized swimming pools. Miami installed the first ATM for inline skaters. The Cookie Monster's actual name is Sid. The wax moth has the highest recorded frequency sensitivity of all animals. Apples can float because 25% of their volume is air. To make 1 pound of honey, a honeybee must tap about 2 million flowers. A coin is most likely to land facing the same side on which it started. Ancient Romans believed strawberries could relieve melancholy and mask bad breath. You are always looking at your nose, your brain just chooses to ignore it. The Library of Congress maintained a record of every tweet sent by each Twitter user from 2010 to 2017. Silly String was originally designed to be a spray-on cast for broken bones. My ankle was bruised many a times with the Skip It ankle toy, or as I like to call it, the ankle destroyer. It wasn't until 1963 that the 7-Eleven would stay open 24 hours. It all started when a 7-Eleven near the University of Texas was forced to keep its doors open past its usual closing time during a busy football game. The longest attack of hiccups lasted 68 years. Red is the first color a baby sees. The average person takes 23,000 breaths a day. A bolt of lightning can reach temperatures hotter than the sun. Cats can make as many as 100 different vocal sounds, but dogs can only make about 10. The word night has the same number of silent letters as pronounced letters. A screensaver originally was used to prevent an image from being permanently burned onto the screen of a computer. A rainbow can only be seen in the morning or late afternoon. Leucism is the genetic condition that results only in the loss of pigment from feathers. A female kangaroo is called a flyer, a baby kangaroo a joey, and a male kangaroo is called a boomer. Also, kangaroos can't walk backwards. Okay, last kangaroo fact. Kangaroos cannot jump without their tails touching the ground. The official state gem of Washington is petrified wood. I'm pretty sure I saw that like on a candle or something. that scent or that name. A woodpecker can hammer wood up to 16 times per second. A pelican can hold more food in its beak than in its belly. Strawberries taste sweeter at room temperature. Blueberries are one of the only natural foods that are truly blue in color. You cannot taste food until mixed with saliva. In Texas, it's legal to kill Bigfoot if you ever find it. Despite its hump, a camel has a straight spine. A human brain weighs about 3 pounds. Koalas and humans are the only animals with unique fingerprints. Plants can also have a fever if they're sick, just like humans. It's estimated 2% of people can lick the outside of their elbow. Chickens are the closest living relative of Tyrannosaurus rex. Venus is the only planet to rotate clockwise. Jellyfish can clone themselves. They're just that powerful. A snake can see a warm-blooded animal even with its eyes closed. The term jiffy is sometimes used in computer animation as a method of defining playback rate. Summer solstice marks the first day of summer and the longest day of the year. Based on the Act of 1760 in Philadelphia, pretzels can't be put into bags. Ducks have 3 eyelets. Ooh, aren't they special? The first American alarm clock was invented in New Hampshire in 1787 by Levi Hutchins. It was never patented and rang only at one time, 4 a.m., to wake him up for work. A study done at the University of Richmond found that squirrels failed to recover up to 74% of the nuts they bury. In The Wizard of Oz, Dorothy's blue and white dress was actually blue and light pink, which was easier to shoot in Technicolor. Unlike the popular myth that elephants are afraid of mice, elephants are actually afraid of bees. So much so they will flap their ears, stir up dust, and make a noise, then turn and flee at just the sight of bees. A day on Venus lasts longer than a year on Venus. White asparagus is one of the most labor-intensive vegetables to grow. Words that cannot be rhymed with other words are known as refractory rhymes. Words like orange, purple, silver, month, and circle. With more than 19 billion chickens on the planet at any given time, chickens outnumber humans almost 3 to 1. The color of a chicken's leg fades as it gets older. It's estimated around 5,000 captive tigers are in the US, more than the about 3,900 in the wild. If you could drive your car upwards, you would be in space in less than an hour. In the majority of cases, ants won't cross a chalk line because the powder in chalk disrupts the ant's ability to pick up scents of other ants. The bullfrog is the only animal that never sleeps. The term 007 comes from the number 20007, the home zip code of many Washington, D.C. agents. Twins have a higher likelihood of being left-handed. In Youngstown, Ohio, it is illegal to run out of gas on the road and can end up with you getting a misdemeanor. Some pirates believe that wearing an earring would improve or cure bad eyesight. Also, a neat thing about pirates is that they would wear a gold earring on their right ear. This was because if they were to pass away and their body was to wash up on shore, selling their earring would cover the cost to send the pirate back to their home port. Twins have been reported to create their own languages. These are known as autonomous languages and they exist in 40% of all twins. Tennis was originally played with your bare hands. The palm of your hand would be used to hit the ball. In Arizona, it's illegal for donkeys to sleep in bathtubs. In North Carolina, it's against the law to sing off-key. It's also illegal to spit on sidewalks or public buildings. Alaska is the only state that can be typed on one row of keys. You can tell a turtle's gender by the noise they make. Males grunt and females hiss. There are more stars in the sky than grains of sand on Earth. Some lizards use push-ups to communicate, mainly as a defense mechanism to make themselves look larger and more intimidating. Humans and bananas share about 40 to 60% of the same DNA. Texas is the only state that allows residents to cast absentee ballots from space. The reason Texas does this is because NASA's Johnson Space Center is located there, so most astronauts live in Houston. This isn't really useless info unless you're not an astronaut who resides in Texas and happens to be in space at the time of voting. There are more saunas than cars in Finland, with around 3.2 million saunas. Rhinos' horns are not made of bone, but rather keratin, the same material found in our hair and fingernails. And their horn is not actually connected to their skull, and it's actually made of compacted hair. The middle finger is the nail that grows the fastest. Bumblebee bats weigh less than a penny. Also, they look really cute. Zuko from The Last Airbender was almost not included. The writers added him last minute when they decided they needed more action. 1 is the only number with letters in reverse alphabetical order. There are over 2,500 apple varieties grown in the United States. In the 17th century Holland, tulips were worth more than gold. Abraham Lincoln was a skilled wrestler and was given an award from the National Wrestling Hall of Fame in 1992. A shark is the only fish that can blink with both eyes. Dreamt is the only English word that ends in the letters MT. Ostrich eyes are bigger than its brain. Ghost crabs use teeth in their stomachs to growl at aggressors. Woodpeckers' tongues wrap around their brain to cushion them from a concussion when they peck trees. Pigs have the intelligence of a human toddler and are ranked as the 5th most intelligent animal in the world. Dogs poop according to the Earth's magnetic field, preferring to poop with their body being aligned along the north-south axis while avoiding the east-west axis. Asherita Furman holds the Guinness World Record for the most Guinness World Records and has been breaking records since 1979. The llama song has amassed over 42 million views. Lollipop is the longest word you can type with your right hand. The next month without a full moon will be February 2037. Race car, kayak, and level are read the same both forwards and backwards. The original board pieces of Monopoly were inspired by Charles Darrow's niece and were created to resemble figures on her charm bracelet. Presbyterians rearranged is Britney Spears. You can use your saliva to remove blood stains on clothes. There's a town in Maryland called Accident. Zookeepers have to rub baby pandas' bellies like their moms would in the wild to allow them to poop. More than 2 million pieces of Skittles are produced every day. The candy Sugar Daddies was originally called Papa Suckers. What? Okay. Elephants suck on their trunks for comfort. The founders of Puma and Adidas were brothers. The oldest domestic cat on record lived for 38 years. Her name was Cream Puff and she was from Austin, Texas. Anteaters have no teeth. Mist and fog are often used interchangeably, but the difference between the two is a matter of how far you see through it. If you can see more than 1,000 meters, it's called mist, but if it's thicker and the visibility drops below 1,000 meters, it's called fog. 9-banded armadillos nearly always have litters of 4 babies. identical quadruplets. The first pencil was invented in England in 1565. Picasso could draw before he could walk. The Spanish word for pencil was the first thing he said. The only letter of the alphabet that doesn't appear in any American state is Q. Andrew Jackson's parrot was removed from his funeral for swearing so loud and long it disturbed the attendees. Using a fork was once considered sacrilegious and quite rude since we already had natural forks, our fingers. Sweden has the highest candy consumption per capita in the world, about 35 pounds per person per year. That means the average Sweden eats over half a pound of candy every week. The American dogwood or flowering dogwood is the state flower of both North Carolina and Virginia. It also serves as the state tree of Virginia, the only state to have the same state flower and tree. Happy Birthday was the first song ever played on Mars. Mars rover Curiosity played the song to itself on its first anniversary on the plane. I thought that was really cute. And for some reason, hearing it reminded me of something Wall-E would do. The accordion made its cinematic debut in 1888. Bees are the only insect that produce food that people can eat. John Lennon from the Beatles admitted that none of them could read or write music in a 1980 Playboy interview. Most department stores tend to play slower music in order to slow down customers and keep them shopping longer. The opposite is true for restaurants. Gatorade was named after the University of Florida Gators. The average golf ball has 336 dimples. As early as 1935, up until the introduction of solid core balls, some golf ball engineers used liquid cores in balls that would otherwise have too much spin. Many of those liquid-filled golf balls were filled with honey. Despite taking about 3 hours to play out, the average baseball game only has about 18 minutes of active playing time. I know I said gaming play. More than 100 baseballs are used during a typical professional baseball game. Both volleyball and basketball were invented in Massachusetts. Deer Park, California banned ice cream trucks starting in the 1980s. More specifically, they banned moving vehicles from playing music while selling their products. Humans are the only species that blush. Fortune tellings is illegal in Baltimore, Maryland. Violators can be fined up to $500 or imprisoned for up to a year. In Switzerland, it's illegal to hike nude. Otto the bulldog broke the record for a dog to skate through the longest human tunnel when he skated through the legs of 30 people without any assistance. The phrase heart of gold has been used since the 1500s. The phrase is thought to have been popularized through its use in William Shakespeare's play Henry V, which was written around 1599. You can get a license plate in the shape of a polar bear in the Northwest Territories of Canada. Lettuce is a member of the sunflower family. The heaviest onion on record was grown by Pete Glazelbrook of England, and it weighed 17 pounds. The actors who voiced Mickey and Minnie Mouse from the 1980s to the 2010s were married. Jawn, spelled Jawn, is a word used in Eastern Pennsylvania meaning a person, place, or thing you just can't remember. Demeter Fragrance Library worked with Hasbro to make a Play-Doh fragrance. In 2017, Hasbro filed for federal protection in order to trademark the scent of Play-Doh, which the company described as a unique scent formed through the combination of a sweet, slightly musky, vanilla-like fragrance, with slight overtones of cherry and the natural smell of a salted, wheat-based dough. The first person charged with speeding in a vehicle was going 8 miles per hour. Most toilet paper sold for home use in France is pink. The first living creatures intentionally sent to space were fruit flies. It would take 92,900,000 933,068 cans of Spam to cover the length of the Great Wall of China. You can buy pyramid-shaped watermelons in Japan. An average yawn is nearly 6 seconds long. The original Ferris wheel was designed and constructed in Chicago, Illinois by George Washington Gale Ferris Jr. Astronaut is a compound word derived from the two ancient Greek words astro, meaning star, and naut, meaning sailor, so astronaut literally means star sailor. The television was invented only 2 years after the invention of sliced bread. The first movie ever to put a motion picture soundtrack was Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. It's estimated that at any given moment, nearly 2,000 thunderstorms are in progress over the Earth's surface, and lightning strikes the Earth 100 times each second. Porcupines can float. Their hollow quills help them float, and they look super cute doing it too. On average, there are 86 Lego bricks for every single person on Earth. If you cut down a cactus in Arizona, you will be penalized for up to 25 years in jail. It is similar to cutting down a protected tree species. The letters J and Q are the only two letters not found on the periodic table. Ice cream was once called cream ice. An astronaut's footprint can last 1 million years on the surface of the moon. Daniel Radcliffe was allergic to his Harry Potter glasses. He had an allergy to nickel, and they were replaced with hyperallergenic specs. The opposite sides of the dice always add up to 7. Cockroaches do not have red blood because they do not use hemoglobin to carry oxygen. They do not carry oxygen in their bloodstream either. Most cockroaches' blood is colorless. Astronaut John H. Glenn was the first American to eat in space. His meal? Applesauce from a toothpaste-like tube. It is physically impossible for pigs to look up into the sky the way humans do. This is due to the anatomy of their neck, which makes it very difficult to bend backwards. But they can still roll over on their backs and look up at the sky. The world's longest French fry is 34 inches, discovered at Taffy's hot dog stand in Buffalo, New York by diner John Binbinick in July of 2010. Owls can't move their eyeballs. Instead, owls have to move their bodies or heads in order to look around. Panda droppings can be recycled into paper. New Zealand, I feel like I'm saying it wrong still. I know how to say it. New Zealand has one of the highest sheep to human ratios in the world, with 5.1 sheep to every person. I swear I knew how to say it. Okay. In the early days of the U.S. Parcel Service, there weren't clear guidelines about what you could and couldn't mail. Before 1913, it was possible for parents to mail their kids to their grandparents through postal services. Man, that's wild. Robert Tommy found a way to use some of the 10,000 gallons of leftover grease from his McDonald's franchise each year by powering 2 diesel cars with it. Humans are the only animals with chins. A single strand of spaghetti is called a spaghettio. What was it? Was that SpaghettiOs or something? Wasn't that the brand? Or like the slogan? SpaghettiOs. It's possible to sneeze with your eye. Oh, it's impossible to sneeze with your eyes open. It was popular for Viking men to dye their hair blonde. April 30th, 1952, Mr. Potato Head became the first toy advertised on television. This was the first commercial to be aimed directly at children. Before this, commercials were only targeted at adults. Despite Fruit Loops having different colors, they have all the exact same flavor. In 2006, a Coca-Cola employee offered to sell Coca-Cola secrets to Pepsi. Pepsi responded by notifying Coca-Cola. To leave a party without telling anyone, in English it's called a French exit. But in French, it's called a word I don't want to mispronounce, but it means to leave like the English. Elvis was originally blonde. He started coloring his hair black for an edgier look. and would sometimes use shoe polish to touch up his hair. The red Sour Patch Kids are the same candy as Swedish Fish, but with sour sugar. There is an island called Just Enough Room where there's just enough room for a tree and a house. There is a such thing as underwater rugby. In 1992, a shipping crate containing 28,000 rubber duckies fell overboard, and they ended up washing up all around the world for the next 20 years. In 2005, a man by the name of Ronald McDonald robbed a Wendy's. There are over 6,000 known species of grass. Tom Hanks has an asteroid named after him, which was called 12818 Tom Hanks. The longest cricket test match lasted over 12 days between England and South Africa. It only ended because the English team would have missed their boat home. Madagascar got its name when Marco Polo misspelled it, and the name just ended up sticking. In the United States, each person owns an average of 7 pairs of blue jeans. In Toy Story 2, in the scene where Buzz gives a speech in front of the American flag, the flag was edited to be a globe for release in non-American countries. Bulls are actually colorblind to the color red. There is a punctuation mark used to signify irony or sarcasm that looks like a backward question mark. Red Solo cups are a common souvenir to bring back from the United States. The novelty comes from the cups being used in many party scenes in movies. If you heat up a magnet, it will lose its magnetism. On April 1st, 2005, NASA pulled an April Fool's prank telling the world that they had found water on Mars. Animals yawn based on how large their brain is. The bigger the brain, the longer they yawn. Only 2% of the world's population has green eyes. Tic Tacs got their name from the sound they make when they are tossed around in their container. There are only 2 countries in the world that use purple on their flags. In Japan, Domino's started testing pizza delivery via reindeer in 2016. Webster's Dictionary accidentally had a word that didn't exist in it for 5 years. Dord, spelled D-O-R-D. The full name of Chuck E. Cheese mouse is Charles Entertainment Cheese. The day after Thanksgiving is called Brown Friday by plumbers in America because it's their busiest day of the year. When we're born, the only innate fears we have are the fear of falling and the fear of loud sounds. All other fears are learned. Orlando Bloom has swinophobia, which is a fear of pigs. Ant queens can live for up to 30 years. Bubble wrap was originally designed to be used as wallpaper. Horses and zebras are the only I misread that. Horses and zebras have only one toe on each foot. There we go. Apparently, it's a misconception that elephants think humans as cute the same way we see puppies and kittens as cute. But I still wish to think of this as true because it makes me feel good to know that elephants think of me as cute. So, May 29th is National Put a Pillow on Your Fridge Day. It is celebrated in Europe and in the United States to bring luck and wealth to the household. The little flags of paper placed in the foil of Hershey's Kisses candies are known as plumes. They allow people to know which sweet they'll be consuming as the flavor of candy is printed on the plume. The first Game Boy could run for 30 hours on only 2 AA batteries. Tater Tots, registered trademark, originally failed because people thought the product was too cheap. Popularity rose after the price was raised. The odds of being born on February 29th are 1 in 1,461. Snoop Dogg's nickname came from his mother, who thought he looked like Snoopy from Peanuts. How cute is that? Only 45,000, my gosh. Only 45% of the London Underground is actually underground. Halloween costumes each year in America cost $1.5 billion. children's costumes bring in almost as much revenue with a total of $1.2 billion. The commonly known phrase, "to a T," means something that fits just right. Interestingly enough, this phrase derives from a similar phrase, "to a tittle," which is a small mark that is used in spelling norms, like the dots of an I or J or an accent mark. In English, 12 is the largest number that has just one syllable. The world's longest place name has 85 letters and is located in New Zealand. Both Motel 6 and Super 8 got their names from the original prices of the room. Motel 6 started at $6 in 1962 and Super 8 at $8.88 in 1974. In Israel, it is illegal to bring bears to the beach. Your earlobes line up with your nipples. The poodle is one of the cleanest breeds of dogs, making them a great choice for people with pet allergies. The smallest thing ever photographed is the shadow of an atom. Every Pixar movie contains a reference to the Pixar movie that comes after it. The highest body count in film history goes to Lord of the Rings: Return of the King with 836 on-screen deaths. The first computer mouse was invented by Douglas Engelbart in 1964. It was designed as a wooden box with two metal wheels that make contact with the surface and had only one key. In Indonesian, there's a word "joyous" that means a joke told so poorly and so unfunny that one cannot help but laugh. When double rainbows occur, the colors of the second arc are always reversed. The word "friend" is said in every episode of Friends. Marie Antoinette's last words were to her executioner after accidentally stepping on his foot, saying, "Pardon me, sir, I meant not to do it." March 3rd is What If Cats and Dogs Had Opposable Thumbs Day. Birds have the right of way on any public highway in Utah. Extreme ironing is a sport in which people take ironing boards to remote locations and iron items of clothing. It originated in England. The oldest "your mom" joke was discovered on a 3,500-year-old Babylonian tablet in Iraq in 1976. The tablet has since been lost, but the text remains preserved. Bob Ross got the idea he would save money on haircuts by letting his hair grow out, getting a perm, and decided he would never need a haircut again. As I record this, I am currently wearing the Everything is Fine Christmas sweater. Spacesuits take 5,000 hours to make, cost $1 million, and weigh about 110 pounds and have 11 layers of material. In Australia, there are nearly twice the amount of kangaroos as there are humans. The maximum recommended consumption for Monster energy drinks is 16 ounces in Australia, but 48 ounces in the United States. There are more than 70 species of mushrooms that glow in the dark. In the original Psycho movie, the blood in the famous shower scene was actually chocolate syrup. The distance from your wrist to your elbow is the same length as your foot. Reindeer are one of the only mammals that can see UV light. 15% of iPhone users use an iPhone with a broken screen. Elephants can die of a broken heart if their mates die. The average person takes 12 seconds to count to 24. The collective name for a group of unicorns is called a blessing. Coca-Cola was first served in 1886. At that time, only 9 colas were served on an average day, 3,285 a year. Today, 19,400 Coke products are consumed every second. Sunflowers can help clean radioactive soil. The average computer user blinks 7 times a minute. The normal rate is 20 times per minute. Ed Sheeran has a ketchup bottle tattooed on his arm. Also, he partnered with Heinz to create a limited edition Ed Sheeran and Heinz ketchup bottles, which were made and sold for charity. There is a town in India called Santa Claus. Aggressive sitting is a sport. It originated in Berlin. False eyelashes were invented in 1916 when a producer wanted to enhance an actress's eyes in a movie. When tea started being sold in bags, originally it was intended to be removed from the bags by the customer, but they found it easier to brew the tea with the tea still in the bag. Crows can remember the faces of individual humans. They can also hold a grudge. The least common day to be born is May 22nd. Alpacas make a gentle humming noise when happy. Alpaca fleece has 22 natural shades, ranging from black to silver and rose gray, and white from mahogany brown to light fawn and champagne. The word oxymoron is in itself an oxymoron because it derives from the ancient Greek word oxy, meaning sharp, and moros, meaning stupid. Another term for nieces and nephews are nibblings. Daniel Radcliffe broke over 80 wands while filming the Harry Potter movies because he used them as drumsticks. There is no federal declared official language for the U.S. English is the only official language of 32 states. The first known recipe for angel food cake was published in 1878. 1 out of every 4 cranes on Earth is located in Dubai. The Lion King was originally called King of the Jungle until they realized lions don't actually live in jungles. A group of students at the University of Iceland created an Android app to prevent Icelanders from accidentally dating their cousins. There are more volcanoes on Venus than any other planet within our solar system. Play-Doh was originally supposed to be used to clean your walls, but was rebranded as a child's toy once they saw children playing it at the nursery school. Disney is the second largest purchaser of explosives in the United States after the U.S. Department of Defense. Coca-Cola owns all the domain names that can be read as ah, such as ah.com, 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 and so on, all the way up to 62 H's. Google.com was supposed to be Google.com. However, at the time, Google.com was available, but Google.com was not. I don't know how you pronounce the other one, but okay. Maybe the same way. Mountain Dew is slang for moonshine. It was originally created as a mixer for moonshine and whiskey in Tennessee. Sprite was manufactured as Coca-Cola's response to the popularity of 7-Up. The U.S. market includes nearly 450 different soft drinks. 1 out of every 4 beverages consumed in America today is a soft drink. In 1999, PayPal was voted as one of the top 10 worst business ideas. Humans cannot walk in a straight line without a visual point. When blindfolded, we gradually walk in a circle. The mongoose is one of the rare animals that are immune to a snake's venom. Mulan has the highest kill count of any Disney character, including villains, and was the first Disney princess to be shown killing people on screen. That's why I like her. Death by PowerPoint refers to an intensely boring and sleep-inducing presentation of useless PowerPoint presentations. King Kong was the first movie to ever have a sequel. Pope Francis was once a nightclub bouncer. Interesting. Swans have over 25,000 feathers on its body. Ladybugs bleed from their knees when threatened. The creators of P&G wanted it to be pronounced as ping. The only 15-letter word that can be spelled without repeating a letter is uncopyrightable. The largest snowflake in the world was found in 1887. It was 15 inches wide and 8 inches thick. Indiana University was given $1 million by the federal government to study internet memes. Can I study internet memes? I'll do it. I'll do it for free. Cards Against Humanity celebrated Black Friday by digging a hole as long as people donated. They raised over $100K. Coca-Cola was the first drink ever consumed in space. God is the only Simpsons character who has 5 fingers. The rest of the characters have only 4. A kite is defined as an aircraft according to the Indian Aircraft Act of 1934. The first bottle of Dr. Pepper was sold in America on January 12, 1885. Giraffe hearts pump twice as hard as a cow's heart in order to get blood to its brain. In feudal Japan, lords purposely built homes with squeaky floors as a defense measure against ninjas. No two giraffes possess the same spot patterns, and I read an article that said giraffes use the patterns to recognize who's in their family group and who won't be invited to the next family reunion. Subway beats out McDonald's as the largest global chain, with Subway having 40,953 globally and McDonald's having 37,855 globally. In New Jersey, it's illegal to wear a bulletproof vest while committing a violent crime. There's actually a difference between coffins and caskets. Coffins are typically tapered and six-sided, while caskets are rectangular. The inventor of Vaseline, Robert Cheeseborough, ate a spoonful of the stuff every single day. Man, that's commitment. The serial number on Darth Vader's suit of armor was E-3778Q-1. Peaches are the third most popular fruit grown in America. Jupiter has 80 moons, 57 have been given official names, and 23 moons are still awaiting official names. A sunset on Mars is blue. I love to see that, like a blue sunset, man, that'd be so cool. The most expensive domain ever sold was cars.com for $872.3 million. The letter Z is the least frequently used letter in written English. It is more common in American English than British English due to spelling differences. The first ever computer virus was called Creeper in 1971. Afterwards, the first antivirus was called Reaper. NASA mistakenly erased the original tape of the first steps on the moon. Twinkies only have a shelf life of 45 days. Cosmic latte is the average color of the universe. In 1932, Australia started an emu war and lost. Orcas are a natural predator to moose. The Polar Bear Jail, officially known as the Polar Bear Holding Facility, is a special building in Canada where polar bears that are considered troublesome or dangerous reside before they can be relocated. The smallest park in the world is Mills End Park. The park is a small circle 2 feet across with a total area of 452 square inches. Metals can fuse in space if you place them close enough together. It's an effect called cold welding. The founder of Match.com, Gary Kreeman, lost his girlfriend to another man she met on Match.com. Camels store water in their bloodstream, not their hump. Cows have besties too, and panic when they're separated from their bestie. If the sun ever dies, it will take around 8 minutes before we ever realize it. Most of the visible stars you see in the night sky are binary stars, 2 stars orbiting each other. The 1-800 number got its start in 1967. Firefighters sometimes use wetting agents to make water wetter. Is water wet? Is a debate that's still ongoing even today. The couple in the painting in American Gothic are actually father and daughter, not husband and wife. Every breath you take contains a molecule of history. Because there are more molecules of air in one breath than there are breaths in the atmosphere, every breath you take likely contains at least one molecule of Newton's last breath. The first can opener wasn't invented until almost 50 years after the invention of the can. It's suspected that on Neptune and Uranus it rains diamonds. Whale sharks have teeth on their eyeballs. It took the creator of the Rubik's Cube about a month to solve the cube after he created it. McDonald's once created bubble gum flavored broccoli. The longest boxing match went 110 rounds and over 7 hours long. The technical term for the hashtag symbol or pound sign is called octothorpe. The longest wedding veil was longer than 63 football fields. M&M stands for Mars and Murray. American roller coasters were originally invented to save America from Satan's temptations, or in other words, immoral behavior. When taking a picture, we're often asked to say cheese, right? Well, in the 19th century, it was common to say prunes instead. About 700 grapes go into one bottle of wine. The mixed spaghetti was introduced in the 1970s and discontinued in 1980, except in Orlando, Florida, and the Philippines. The dunce cap first began as a symbol of intelligence and was used by respected scholars. Wild lobsters come in lots of colors, such as green, blue, yellow, gray, multicolored, and albino, but rarely red. The reason we see them drawn red is because only the red pigments can withstand the heat when cooking, resulting in the red shells we see. Around 1 in 10 million lobsters are naturally red before cooking. The blue whale's heart weighs about 400 pounds and is approximately the size of a small piano. And the heartbeat can be heard from more than 2 miles away. The Oscars used to give out awards to child performers called the Academy Juvenile Award, but it was discontinued in 1960. A baby puffin is called a puffling. The lyrebird can mimic almost any sound it hears, including car alarms, camera shutters, and chainsaws. Mickeys per second is a unit of measurement for the speed and movement direction of a computer mouse. A group of bunnies is called a fluffle. Dr. Seuss' Green Eggs and Ham was written based on a bet that he could write a book with 50 or fewer words. The bet was made in 1960 with Bennett Cerf, the co-founder of Random House, for $50, which would be equivalent to $382 in current time. The largest padlock in the world weighs 916 pounds. The first McDonald's drive-thru was created in 1975 in Arizona in order to serve military members who were not permitted to wear uniforms out in public. There is a Lego bridge in Germany you can walk across. In 1997, an orange cat named Stubbs became an honorary mayor in an Alaskan town. The American Public Power Association says that squirrels are the most frequent cause of power outages in the U.S. They even developed a data tracker called the Squirrels Index. In ancient Greece and Rome, doctors used spider webs to make bandages for their patients. A woman in Sweden lost her wedding ring while cooking on Christmas in 1995. She even had the floor pulled up but wouldn't find it until 16 years later. While gardening, she found it around a carrot. Religious websites carry 3 times more malware threats than pornographic sites. The inventor of Pringles had his remains buried in a Pringles can. Sunglasses were originally designed for Chinese judges in order to hide their eyes in court so that no one could read their facial expressions. In 2019, the Roosevelt Hotel in New Orleans launched a competition to celebrate their 125th anniversary by offering former guests to return items previously stolen from their property, and whoever brought the most outrageous item would win a 7-night stay in one of their presidential suites. You can fit 75 million golf balls in a blimp. A possible way to prevent yourself from crying while cutting onions is wearing contacts. This comes from personal experience of a friend who never understood why people would cry while cutting onions until she took her contacts out and proceeded to bawl her eyes out. In 2008, 2 Virginia sisters found a cornflake in the shape of Illinois sold on eBay for $1,350. The amount of copper on the Arizona Capitol building roof is equivalent to nearly 5 million pennies. Louisiana is home to a rare pink dolphin. Their name is Pinky. A moonbow, sometimes called a lunar rainbow, is a rainbow that happens at night. Bumblebees can fly higher than Mount Everest. The inventor of Comic Sans admitted to only using the font once. Tom Parker, Elvis Presley's manager, sold I Hate Elvis badges as a way to make money off of people who didn't love Elvis. The average lifespan of a baseball in a major league game is 7 pitches. 7 pitches. Pitches. It sounded like I said bitches. I said pitches. It still kind of sounded like bitches. Okay, I'm moving on. The match was invented after the lighter. The match was invented in 1826, and the first cigarette lighter was made in 1823. Taxi drivers in London are called cabbies. A single elephant tooth weighs as much as 9 pounds, and a human baby can weigh between 5 to 8 pounds. So an elephant tooth weighs more than a human baby. Oak trees can start producing acorns when they're 20 years old, but sometimes can go up to 50 years before the first production of acorns. Potatoes can absorb and reflect Wi-Fi signals. The strawberry is the only agricultural product that bears its seeds on the outside. The average person spends 6 months of their life waiting for traffic lights to turn green. The average time spent waiting at a red light is 75 seconds. The Netherlands is so safe that it had to import criminals to fill their jails, even had to close some of their jails because of the lack of criminals. Just like we have fingerprints, we also have unique tongue prints, too. The most expensive film ever made was Pirates of the Caribbean, which cost more than $375 million to create. The average budget for a big studio film is around $65 million. In the movie E.T., someone squished their hands in jelly to make the sound of E.T. walking around. Buzz Lightyear's original name was Lunar Larry. After many discussions, Disney and Pixar thought the name sounded too wacky and went with Buzz Lightyear to honor astronaut Buzz Aldrin. Only one author has written a book in 9 out of 10 of the Dewey Decimal System categories. There are more people in California than Canada, despite the fact that Canada is more than 2,000% larger in size than California. Maine is the only state within the United States that has only one syllable. Elephants are the only mammal that can't jump, and it's because the bones in their legs are pointed all downwards, so they don't have the spring to push off the ground. Iceland is the only country that is mosquito-free and also tick-free. Rap God by Eminem is a song with the most words, with 1,560 words, rapping an average of 4.28 words per second. It takes 70 pieces of wood to construct a violin. Sea lion is the first non-human mammal shown to keep a beat. The number 57 on Heinz ketchup bottle does not represent the number of condiment varieties they offer, but Henry Heinz simply used the number because he believed it was lucky. France has the most time zones with 12. If you calculate all the characters sitting in silence in Twilight, it would amount to a total of 26 minutes. Most dinosaurs are known from just a single tooth or bone. Some tornadoes can be faster than Formula One race cars. Yuma, Arizona gets over 4,000 hours of sunshine a year, making it the sunniest place on Earth. The least sunniest place is the South Pole, where the sun only shines 182 days a year. Worms wiggle up from the ground when a flood is coming. This is because they can't get enough oxygen when the soil is flooded, so they come to the surface to breathe. A 73-year-old bottle of French Burgundy became the most expensive bottle of wine ever sold at an auction in 2018, going for $558,000. The ancient Romans used to drop a piece of toast in their wine for good health, and it's why we say raise a toast. The Spice Girls were originally called Touch. Unique adaptations in the hemoglobin of moles allow them to survive underground with low levels of oxygen and high levels of carbon dioxide. The biggest fossil of a spider ever found was in China. It was 1 inch long and 165 million years old. There are 222 owl species in the world. Most are nocturnal, but a few are active during the daytime, such as the barred owl. In 2014, 2 research scientists matched on Tinder, one being from the US and the other from Antarctica. A koala's fingerprints are so similar to a human fingerprint that they could taint a crime scene. investigators have gone on record to say even under a microscope, they wouldn't be able to tell the difference between a human's print and a koala's. The loudest animal in the world is the pistol shrimp. It can collapse its jaws so fast that it creates a bubble that collapses and creates a sonic blast. The last letter added to the English alphabet was J. At the time, J was just a fancier way of writing the letter I, called a swash. There have been more than 300 limited edition seasonal and regional flavors of Kit Kat chocolate bars produced in Japan since 2000. Buzz Aldrin, despite being the second on the moon, was the first to ever pee on the moon. This last bit of information is one I found via a YouTube comment. It goes, "If you ever encounter a polar bear in the wild, chances are it's been following you for a much longer amount of time than your mental health is prepared for." Oh my gosh, finally done. So I definitely underestimated how much information I would need to fill up an hour. When I first did this, the first go around, I recorded everything and it was like over an hour. So I was like, okay. But after I cut everything down, it was only like 17 minutes long. I was like, what? So then I had to go back, get some more information and re-record. But oh my goodness, just the recording of it all and cutting down audio and then having to listen to it back. Like, I don't imagine myself doing something like this again unless it was unless I was doing like a stream or something. Because at least then I wouldn't have to listen to my audio like a dozen times over, So, but I hope you enjoyed this. This is definitely an anomaly in my videos. But expect more videos to come that are not like this. Gonna be more just my other content. But nonetheless, it was really fun to do still, and I hope you guys enjoyed this. Thank you if you stuck around this long. I really appreciate it. And I'll catch you guys later.